Chelsea versus Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea's first big test of the 2018-19 Premier League campaign. A new manager with a completely new philosophy and system on the one side, and a new manager for the first time in 22 years on the other side. Sarri does confirm that Kovacic is ready to play but not start, and assess Fabregas will miss the game with injury. But will Eden Hazard start the game to tear up Arsenal in our new system? To find out about all of that and everything you need to know about both teams ahead of the game, both Sarri's and Unai Emery's pre-game comments and more in detail, make sure you watch all of today's preview. Hello there guys, and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my preview of the Chelsea versus Arsenal game, with the kickoff being tomorrow on Saturday, August 17th at 5:30 PM UK time at Stamford Bridge. And obviously it is our first big test of the season really. Of course we had the Community Shield, but that's kind of a friendly, so this is the first real big test of the season. Of course Arsenal and City, but Arsenal are still a big team and it won't be easy to beat them at all. But of course we are covering every single Premier League game of the season. We're going to cover every cup game, we're going to cover all the Europa League games, so if you don't want to miss out on any of that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you haven't already, and also don't forget to click the notification bell button to be notified whenever we do upload reviews, previews, fan cams and whatever. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and also let's see whether we can hit 700 likes on this video. We would massively appreciate that, and just shows us that you enjoy the content that we do create. But getting into the preview and starting it off by speaking about our opposition, Arsenal. So, Arsenal did lose the first game of the season, a 2-0 defeat against Manchester City at the Emirates last Sunday. To be fair, they could have both conceded a fair few more, but also Arsenal could have scored at least one or two themselves. They missed a fair few, fairly big chances at least. Like us, they do of course also have a new manager in Unai Emery, obviously with Arsene Wenger leaving the club after 22 years in charge. So from that point of view, they're also going through a massive transition period. But footballing style-wise, definitely less so than we are, because Unai Emery doesn't do things exactly like Wenger does, or did, but it's nowhere near as much of a difference as is going from Conte to Maurizio Sarri. Emery's preferred formation, to my knowledge, is the 4-2-3-1, but also 4-3-3 can be used by him at times. And like a lot of modern managers do, he also likes to pass his way out from the back, usually at least. Not as extreme maybe as Maurizio Sarri and Guardiola do, but still. In his pre-game press conference, Emery did confirm that Cech will start in goal again for them after receiving, in my opinion, ridiculous criticism by Arsenal and other clubs' fans as well for an apparently awful performance. Yes, he almost passed into his own goal. Fair enough, yes, he's a goalie, so it looks a bit more extreme, but every player misplaces a pass, isn't it? So I think it's utterly ridiculous. I don't think could have done anything about any of the two goals. Yes, Sterling's goal, the ball went in quite close to Cech. But if you're going to blame him for that, seriously, sort yourselves out. I think it was utterly ridiculous. But to be fair, it did surprise me when I saw that Cech was starting against Man City last week, ahead of, the new signing by Leno, who, I thought, why would you sign someone like Leno if you're not going to start him? I don't really see the point, but, fair dues. And, according to Emery, Cech will start again tomorrow. At left back, they do have some injury problems, with both Kolasinac and Maitland-Niles being out after the latter had to come off versus Manchester City after fracturing his leg and apparently missing up to 6 to 8 weeks. It was then Stefan Lichtsteiner who came on to play at left back when he's obviously usually a right back. And according to Emery today, Nacho Monreal has been in training this week, and after I think also being injured, and Monreal and Lichtsteiner are the two options for the game tomorrow. Monreal did play a lot of games last season, and he went to the World Cup with Spain ahead of someone like Marcos Alonso, so I don't think you can read too much into, them having struggles at left back if Monreal is fit. If it has to be Lichtsteiner on that side, defensively he will still be solid because he's a great player, very experienced, a bit slow maybe because of his age, but defensively he should be solid. Going forward, obviously that's different for Lichtsteiner as he's not used to playing on his left foot or on his left side basically. But if Monreal is fit, I don't think, there should be a fuzz to be made out of really. Also Laurent Koscielny, who tore his Achilles at the end of last season, and Carl Jenkinson are out injured. Obviously, Carl Jenkinson wouldn't really have played anyway, let's be honest. But obviously Koscielny will be out for a long time still. But those are their injuries. But still, Arsenal do have a strong team with the likes of Aubameyang, Ozil, Mkhitaryan, Lacazette, new signing Torreira, who could start tomorrow, although in my opinion isn't as good as some Arsenal fans think he is, and of course Socrates as well. And with all of that, they're definitely not a team to be underestimated in the slightest. I don't think many people do, but sometimes Chelsea fans are, it's just Arsenal, even though they're in a different situation and they just lost against City and they got battered and all that kind of thing. They're not a team to underestimate. City are just very, very good. We got battered by City, even though we only lost 2-0 like they did. We also got battered, let's be honest. Yes, we didn't have Kante, we didn't have Hazard, but still, let's not take Arsenal too lightly. It will be tricky. Of course, we only faced Arsenal in pre-season only like 2.5 weeks ago in Dublin, a game in which we led for the majority until Arsenal got the equaliser in injury time and then ended up beating us on penalties. And to be fair, overall a draw was probably a fair result in that game, even though we could have been up by at least 3 goals at half-time, basically with Morata missing a penalty and, Callum Hudson-Odoi being one-on-one with the keeper, Morata being one-on-one with Czech once as well. So, we could have really had a much bigger lead at the time and probably would have won it if we'd taken those chances. But overall, in the second half especially, a draw was probably fair. But, with us especially having so many crucial players returning since that game from the holidays after the World Cup, tomorrow's matchup will be very different compared to that pre-season game. But that's really it about Arsenal, and now let's speak about Maurizio Sarri's pre-match press conference. First, Sarri reported that Fabregas will also miss tomorrow's game due to an unusual but not serious injury near his knee, not in his knee, but near his knee. Sarri reiterated that. But the boss does hope that Cesc Fabregas will return to training next week. Of course, he already missed the game against Huddersfield last week after kind of playing against City in the Community Shield with a bit of an injury, being apparently on crutches just 2 days before the Community Shield, and obviously that playing that game didn't really help him out. So, now he's out for a bit longer. But, like Sarri said, he should be back in training next week. The latest, obviously, the week after, I assume. The boss also stated that N'Golo Kanté has special physical characteristics, which means that he is and was ready quicker than anyone else that returned late from the World Cup. So he is really ready much quicker than the likes of Hazard, the likes of Giroud, the likes of, say, Gary Cahill. Although, Cahill wouldn't play either way. But, we all know that, but Sarri just, stated it in the press conference, so I mentioned it. He also said that he's not worried about Morata, and that he only needs to gain confidence, but that he is a great player. Sarri does think that he needs a goal, but he is improving, so he's not worried about him at all. Let's hope that he does get that goal, or more, tomorrow, and finds his confidence very soon, so he can prove Sarri right in saying he's a great player, because we need him to do well. We need him to score goals. So Morata, if you could start that tomorrow, that'd be great, mate. Speaking about Mateo Kovacic, Sarri said that he'll be very useful for us, that he's a very technical player, but he also has to work still to gain full fitness, as he's not currently ready to play for 90 minutes. Of course, he was with the Croatian squad until the final, and obviously went on holiday like, all the other players did after the World Cup as well, and didn't really do much training before joining us, so obviously he's not fully ready yet. But Sarri did say that he may be ready to play around 30 minutes or so tomorrow. Sarri said he expects a lot from him, and sees him as a great player that in his opinion can still improve a lot as well. On where he sees Kovacic in midfield, Sarri said that he can play both in the centre right and in the centre left. It's really the same for him. So, of course, both positions ahead of Jorginho, if you will. And that he's a very good offensive player that improved a lot on the defensive side of things while playing in Madrid as well. Just to mention it, Sarri was also asked again whether he's confident that Hazard will stay, even with the transfer window still being open in Spain. And the boss literally said the exact same thing that he said last week already. Hazard is staying, end of, basically. I know the journalists need to get their stories out of it, but, come on. He's staying. Sarri said the exact same thing last week. Why would it change until now? Hazard is staying. Hazard is not going anywhere. We couldn't sign a replacement, so we're not going. Also, Real Madrid, in all honesty, probably can't afford what we'd be asking for Hazard anyway. But that is it about the press conference, and now let's speak about Chelsea. And first of all, let's talk about the possible lineup. Of course, Hazard and Kovacic have had an extra weeks of training now under Sarri, and obviously, fitness-wise as well, after the World Cup duties and holidays. But at least on Kovacic, Sarri, of course, confirmed that he won't start. About Hazard, I'm not as sure, as he obviously already came on against Huddersfield last week, but still I don't think Hazard will start tomorrow either. I think he'll come on much earlier than he did against Huddersfield when he came on with around 75 minutes played, if that. I think he might come on with around 55 or 60 minutes played, but I don't think he will start the game. And with that in mind, I actually think it will be the exact same formation and lineup that started last weekend to start tomorrow. The only change that I could see is Ruben Loftus-Cheek starting instead of Ross Barkley, who didn't have a great, or let's just say impactful game, but in all honesty, neither did Loftus-Cheek when he did come on. So like I said, I think it will be the same lineup that started against Huddersfield, so I think it will be Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, the fullbacks of Cesar Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso, even though I would still prefer to see Emerson, but Sarri clearly disagrees. Then a centre-back 2 of David Luiz and Antonio Rudiger, a midfield 3 of Jorginho as the regista, then N'Golo Kanté, and like I said, probably Ross Barkley as that most attacking of the midfield 3, I suppose. Then on the wings, I'm assuming that we'll have Willian and Pedro again, with Alvaro Morata starting up front. I really do hope, though, that Hudson-Odoi will be involved, at least on the bench tomorrow. Willian had a good game last week, and although being a bit quiet at times, so did Pedro, of course, scored the 3rd goal as well. So it would be a huge surprise to me to see Hudson-Odoi start, but he needs to be in the bench ahead of Moses. Like, he just needs to be, because Moses as a winger is just useless. Already spoke about Hazard probably coming on with, say, 55 or 60 minutes gone, and I also expect Kovacic to be in the bench and maybe come on for the last 20-25 minutes, even though Sarri mentioned about half an hour, but I don't think that will be that realistic. That's the lineup I think Maurizio Sarri will go for tomorrow. I wouldn't change all too much with it. Like I said, I would always rather see Emerson than Alonso play, maybe Loftus-Cheek instead of Barkley, and if Hazard is fit, of course, starting, but if he isn't, Willian and Pedro are fine to me, although I'd love to see Hudson-Odoi play as well. Now, I said earlier that Emery and Arsenal do like to play out from the back. Conte isn't our manager anymore, and Sarri won't want to let them do that and sit back like Conte did a lot. Sarri generally wants his teams to press a lot. Of course, I mean, you should probably know that by now. And against a team that wants to play out from the back, if the press works, that can be a huge factor as to why you could possibly win the game. Now, if we do get our pressing right, I think we do stand a very good chance of winning the game tomorrow. But we also need to be clinical like we were against Huddersfield. Preferably with a goal or two by Morata, because until he scores again, he will continue to just be a shadow of himself, in all honesty. Now, in conclusion, I think that it will be a very interesting game. I think that it could be a very good game of football as well. And like I said, if we do get our pressing right, while being clinical, I think that we'll win. But that's the thing. I think it will take us a good while longer to get our pressing against the top 6 team right. And that's why I think we're not going to win. I really want to beat Arsenal. I really do. Especially because the fans going on about, us not beating them in so long. It's starting to get on my nerves, really. Especially when they come out with it after pre-season friendly. Like, get a life. Do you know what I mean? But I actually think that the game will end up in a draw. Same as last week, I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw. I hope to be wrong. I hope that we're going to win. But that's the prediction I'm going to go for. But yeah, that's really it from me. Leave me all of your thoughts out of the game down in the comment section below. Your predicted lineups, the lineup that you think, we should go for rather than what you think Sarri will pick. And also your match predictions. Leave me all of your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to check out my social media, which is Last1507 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here. And also the links to both of them are down in the description below. So if you could follow me over there, I would massively appreciate that. And also, like I said in the beginning, let's see whether we can hit 700 or more likes on this video. That'd be absolutely amazing. So make sure you smash the like button down below. We would massively appreciate that. And of course, it is YouTube. So if you have not already, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also don't forget to click the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea. Very much looking forward to the game tomorrow. And I'll see you next time.